Good morning, everybody. Jasper here. Welcome to day 13. Day 13 of our Appalachian Trail through hike attempt 2022. Wow. Well, yeah, we did have some heavy rain yesterday, but the thunderstorms didn't materialize. But the heavy rain did during the later afternoon, and steady rain before and after that. But I don't think there was any real rain overnight. This morning, departing from the knock. So, good, solid, steep climb out of the knock. Challenging for sure. There's blowdowns right ahead of us, right above us actually, on the trail. I think it's going to be a challenging day overall. However, every day out here pretty much has been. So that's nothing new. The plan today, head north. Well, technically I'm heading west. I'm heading towards Fontana Dam, but overall we're heading north. Tomorrow, or today, I'm hoping to reach a shelter that I believe I have to recheck. Sometimes I get confused and I just don't recall. But I think it's about 15 miles in. Heavy rain tonight. And tomorrow, if I can get a space in the shelter, if I could get there early enough, and as I say, it's 15 miles, so it's a long day for me. So getting into the shelter probably won't happen. But if I can, I will maybe do that and try a night in the shelter in the heavy rain. That way I don't have to pack up a wet tent or pack up in the rain in the morning. But we'll see what happens. I will probably end up having to camp, which is also fine. It's okay. And then tomorrow, by the end of the day, I'm hoping to reach Fontana Dam, my resupply at the general store for the Smoky Mountains. And I should be entering the Smoky Mountains sometime on Thursday, all things being equal. But we'll see. We'll see what the weather brings between now and then, and what the terrain brings between now and then. So again, good morning and welcome to day 13. So yeah, day 13 started off with a good solid climb out of the knock, but right now we're in a level and slightly descending area. Some interesting rock formations in the forest right there, and the trail descending at the moment. Nice forest, easygoing trail. Always nice to have that. Cool, saturated air. We're right at the cloud line, so you go up a few hundred feet, you're into the clouds. You come down a few hundred feet, you're out of the clouds. Not sure what the elevation is here, but it's obviously somewhere in the mid 3000s, I guess. I don't know. But day 13 is up and at 'em, with probably around, oh, I don't know, maybe 2.5 miles in so far this morning. And yeah. Now I checked the app, and when I'd mentioned earlier about staying in a shelter tonight, the shelter that I'm somewhat thinking about is a small shelter, only has 6 spots. So the chances of getting one of those is pretty slim, especially not being a fast hiker. I definitely won't be the first to get there. I'm sure there'll be 5 others ahead of me anyhow. So be it, it's okay. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's keep moving along down the trail today. It's a beautiful morning. Gray, rain's coming, but it's still a beautiful morning. In certain areas, a lot of areas actually, on this trail, the overhang, the canopy is so low. When you're tall, like me, my backpack quite often, and my head, even though I bend down, still hits the top and drags along the canopy. But very, very low, like right now it's doing it. Whew. Whoa, the view, or not the view? That is the question, I suppose. We're in the clouds, for sure. Oh, for sure. Although it is bright above. So it's a haze. Blowdowns. With the high winds we've had over the last few days, the blowdowns are absolutely crazy, and some of them are so much a mess across trail. It's a 5 to 10 minute navigation to climb over them, under them, through them, or around them. But yeah, look how challenging and overgrown the trail is through here. Oh well, I guess this winding won't get this trail hike now, will it? Let's keep going. Take a look at that cloud layer with the mountains poking up on top through the trees. Isn't that beautiful? The sun kind of illuminating the top of that cloud layer. Just absolutely beautiful. The trail continues its relentless challenges and elevation gain, climbing, going uphill. It just continues today. However, I just had a little break. I had one of those like Big Daddy type cookies and a little bit of electrolyte water. Checked all my distances and so on my app. And right now we're at 5.1 miles into the day. And I think about 11.4 to the shelter that I'd really like to get to if I could. If I did that, leaves me a little over 13 miles tomorrow to the Fontana Dam Hilton. We'll see. Let's go. Well, after probably the longest hike, the longest climb so far on this trail, take a look at the view that we get rewarded with. Absolutely stunning. The trail so far today, well, no doubt about it. It was probably at least 8.5 miles of pretty damn solid climbing. Climbing over a lot of recent blowdowns that we'd mentioned earlier. Extremely challenging up to now. I just had my lunch break. For lunch today, I took a whole wheat tortilla, an individual Spam pouch with mayonnaise, made my tortilla wrap, drank some electrolyte water, and also had a Kit Kat bar. So that was my lunch today. I didn't make coffee or anything like that. One thing I've noticed today, I've seen fewer water sources. And I guess that's obviously on the app, and I'm fine for water, and that's all good. But one thing I have seen more of has been kind of unpublished stealth camping sites. Sites that would fit 1 to maybe 3 tents in beautiful locations. Flat, oh, sorry about that. My camera got caught on branches. Flat and beautiful locations. So I've seen more of those, and I noticed I'd seen more of those since I actually entered North Carolina than, say, compared to Georgia. So, hey, a little bit of an update. It's got to be around 1 o'clock now in the afternoon. We still got a ways to go to get to the shelter I'm aiming for. But I don't think I'll get a shelter space because I think it'll be just too late in the day, and I believe it only holds 6 people, does the shelter. But because of the rain tonight and tomorrow morning and so on, it would be nice, but I just don't think I'm going to be fast enough to get that. There's just too many people ahead of me. And we went past a big shelter, which was sassafras. And one of the other guys said there was at least 11 people there last night. So who knows who's going where and why and what and so on. And you don't know. It's never over till the fat lady sings kind of thing. Not knocking fat ladies, you're great. But anyhow, yeah, little update. We're doing fine. One of the problems I'm having today, and it's really been the first day, is I'm just not seeing any water. I've seen one water source on trail since I started, and that was much earlier this morning. I am just about out of water now. Well, I am out. And on the Good app, it showed water just behind me, but that was dry. It's a seasonal creek and dry, even after the big rain yesterday. So, I don't know. The next one is showing at 2 miles ahead. So hopefully there's going to be water there. It's showing it at a parking lot and down a blue side trail. So hopefully we'll get some there. Okay, let's get there then. I'm gonna start climbing now too. Well, not a lot of recording so far today. It's been a very, very, very challenging day. There's a road way down at the bottom below me. I can hear traffic in the distance. People told me there's trail magic there in the parking lot in the form of a cooler with some Cokes and some Mountain Dews, which would be great. A Mountain Dew or a Coke would be nice right now, especially with the shortage of water on this section of the trail. I just checked the app. From that parking lot, my camp is going to be about 2.5 miles away. So that's going to give me a 16+ mile day once I arrive at the camp. And again, I was concerned about water, and someone suggested, well, just drain the melted ice water out of that cooler and filter that for your water bottle and so on. And that would be an idea too, just because I dropped the ball today, because up to now there's been an abundance of water, just not today. Okay, so we're heading down to that parking lot. We'll maybe get ourselves a Coke or a Mountain Dew if the trail magic is still there. Maybe just top up or fill up our water bottle anyhow, our drinking bottle. From there, it's, I think 2.1 or 2.5. I forgot what I just said, but say 2.5 miles from there to the camp. A small shelter, so I don't think, it only holds 6 people. I think by the time I get there, it will be full. That started to rain. It was spitting just moments ago. So of course, it's coming. Timed out, it's got to be around 3 o'clock. The weatherman said the rain's going to start hard at around 5. So I'd really like to get into camp, and if I can't get a spot in the shelter, then have my shelter, my tent up before the heavy rain hits. But again, I got a ways to go yet, and a lot of that ways is going to be a steep climb. We'll just see how we make out here, but right now we're descending. So right now we're descending down towards the parking area, or at least I believe that's what we're doing. We're definitely descending right at the moment. So that is a bonus. That's a good thing right now. A little easier. Okay, let's keep moving on. Stacoa Gap, 3,165 feet. Just had some amazing trail magic. A banana, some crackers with cheese, which I love, and a Mountain Dew. And now, the last 2.5 miles of the day. Let's get them done. So the trail magic, wow, one of my favorite staples on trail is cheesy crackers. And they had cheesy crackers. Banana, I'm a fruit guy. And a Mountain Dew. I'm not particularly a Mountain Dew guy. I'm not a pop guy. But a Mountain Dew is nice now and then. So it lifted my spirits immensely. Filtered 600 ml of water from the ice water in the cooler. Because as you know, we just hadn't seen any water today. But according to the app and communicating with other hikers, there is water at the shelter that should be okay. Should be good. So about 2 miles to the shelter. Got my rain gear on, my rain jacket, and my rain cover on my pack. Because it's now threatening rain, spinning, stopping, spinning, stopping. So the rain's definitely coming, and we know it's supposed to. So be it. We had 6-7 days of just beautiful weather, and then the heavy rain we had yesterday just so happened I was taking a Nero at the knock, so I was just stood under my canopy, if you will, of my cabin, and watching it rain. So that worked out perfectly well, and today up to now has just been a nice day again. So the last 7 days have been great. 8 days, I guess. So yeah, okay, couple of miles to go. If there's still deciding if there is a spot in the shelter. It's a small shelter, 6 people. If there is a spot in there, I might give it a try tonight, but I don't know. And you know what, this time of day, on a night like we're supposed to get tonight of heavy rain, I doubt if there's a spot in a 6-man shelter anyhow. Okay, let's go. We're gonna climb. Let's do it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 14. Jasper here. I hope you're keeping warm and dry. I'm warm right now, and I am dry, but boy, rain, rain, rain. And we knew that was coming last night, so I did elect to stay in a shelter. And that was my first time ever on all the trails I've ever done of staying in a shelter. Then again, on most trails I've ever done, there is no shelters, or very few and far between. So it rained hard last night, and I'm glad I stayed in the shelter. It was a shelter for 6, but there was 7 of us squeezed in there, and that's okay too. My tent, nice and dry. My gear, sleeping bag and everything, nice and dry. Probably be a different story after last night's rains if I had have tented. The trail this morning, well, obviously slippy for sure. All the leaves are slippy, the rocks are slippy, the roots are slippy, and there's lots of challenges. Elevation gain as always, but we're doing fine. So a lot going on. I'm about, well, when I left camp this morning, I was 12.9 miles or 13 miles to the Fontana Dam shelter, the Fontana Hilton. A resupply for the Smokies, shower, and so on at the shelter there, because they have showers and washrooms and charge battery packs, so on. We've got a significant, although be it fairly short, weather system coming through the Smokies that is going to plummet the temperatures to very, very, very cold. In Celsius, I'm talking minus 17. And that just keeps, that forecast keeps changing and dropping that temperature. A few days ago, that low was minus 11 degrees Celsius. Last night, it was minus 17. I think that's Saturday night. Could be Friday night. I have to check. And then, challenging spot right here. And then the next day is minus 12 for a low. I don't think the days are too bad. Below freezing, but not ridiculously cold. So the challenge is basically 2 nights of extremely cold temperatures, and then a couple of nights of, you know, averagely cold temperatures. Yeah, below freezing, but not out of reach by any means. It's just those 2 nights of minus 17 to minus 12. And again, those forecasts keep dropping. I think that's what all this rain is about. It's just all bringing cold air mass from the north. Those pesky Canadians sending down their cold air all the way here to the deep south. And of course, the altitude, the elevation of the Smoky Mountains. The highest point on the Appalachian Trail is Clingman's Dome, which is about 40 miles or so. I don't know how far in, but basically in the middle of the Smoky Mountains. So it's 6,500 feet plus anyhow. And snow is in the forecast also. The snow itself isn't a major concern to me. I have no problems hiking in snow. I did elect to bring spikes, which I'm going to get rid of, but not until I cross the Smokies. That was the original plan with those. So the snow isn't an issue. Just the cold temperatures on a night. I think the key to that is staying dry, to be honest with you, and keeping your sleeping gear dry. That is the key to those temperatures for sure. And I realize in the Smokies, they really prefer that you stay in the shelter, but with temperatures like that, you're actually better off in your tent, because you're going to create a little bit of an environment with your body heat. And sometimes people say, well, maybe that's created in the shelter. No, the shelters are wide open. You need an awful lot of body heat. You need to stack those bodies to the roof before you get any benefit from body heat in the shelters. So anyhow, a little bit of an update. Day 14 begins. And we're heading north and we're pushing north. We will be at the Fontana Dam by the end of this day. And then we'll be making our decisions. I know some people are getting off trail. There was a couple of ladies, girls, and 4 guys. The 4 guys were invited to the girls' parents' place to wait out that cold weather. So that's what they're doing. As for me, I haven't made a rock solid decision yet. To stay in a hotel, say for 4 nights in Fontana would probably be quite expensive. Anyhow, I don't think there's a shelter around there, but if there is, then that would be an option to try to get into a shelter. But you've got the same problem too of everybody else wanting to get into those limited number of bunks. Okay, you know what? This trail is really challenging right now, so I'm going to put you guys away so I can use both poles, and I will talk to you in a bit. Little bit of a morning, whoa, update. Still raining. As you can see, the ground's very slippy. As you can see, little bit of an update on my plan, or at least I think my plan for entering and crossing the Smokies. Obviously, the weather is a concern. And I know some people are getting off trail for that period of time, few days. But from what I understand, I would be entering the Smokies tomorrow, which is Thursday. And from what I understand, Thursday and Friday do not look too bad. The bad day is apparently the Saturday. And the Sunday is not looking too bad again. So, with that said, I'm not going to concern with myself with hiking the whole Smokies. I'm going to concern myself with hiking shelter to shelter, which, give or take, are somewhere around every 7 to 8 miles. So I will probably, unless I get a better offer, I will probably start tomorrow into the Smokies with the intention of going to the first shelter. At that point, I'll decide on conditions if I'm going to the next shelter. And I'm going to do that pretty much Thursday and Friday. Wherever I stop Friday night, be it in my tent or be it a shelter, whatever. If Saturday's the real bad day, and it is indeed the real bad day, then I would probably just say, okay, I would just hunker down right here and stay at this shelter. And if Sunday looks okay, it's improving, then I hike to the next shelter and reevaluate the situation. Basically, at each shelter, through the Smokies. So again, rather than looking at, okay, I've got the 75, 76 mile section to hike, I'm just looking at it as though I've got these 7 or 8 mile sections to hike, and I will judge myself accordingly as far as, do I move on to the next shelter or do I stay here for the night, depending on conditions. So yeah, I think that's a plan. So right now though, day 14, it goes fine. It's not particularly cold, although I do have rain pants on, my Z-Pax Verdis rain pants, and my shorts underneath that. I have my merino wool t-shirt. I have my Arc'teryx lightweight hoodie. I have my Mountain Warehouse 600 fill poofy, and my Z-Pax Verdis rain jacket on. And of course, my cap. The cap I got from the hiker box at hostel around the bend, because somewhere before that I lost my trail name Jasper cap. But this is actually very comfortable and I'm liking it. That's okay. Alrighty, let's take a look at the trail this morning. Hazy, foggy, we're very much in the cloud, and wet and slippy, as I've said. The climbs today so far haven't been too bad. Some ups, some downs, but not bad. Shorter climbs, some pretty challenging rocky sections, but hey, we have got past those, so they're behind us now. And I always remember, I think it was Roger Moore that did this in the racing movie called Cannonball Run, where they race across America. I think when he got into his car, he ripped the rear view mirror off and he said, we don't need that. Whatever's behind us isn't important anymore. That's like a through hike. Once you've got past that challenging section, such as those rocks behind me, or once I get past the Smokies, they don't matter. They're behind me. They don't matter anymore. Okay, let's keep going. Through those trees, it's hard to make out, but you get your first look at the Fontana lake, I guess. I see boats down there, I see homes down there along the shoreline. We've got about 5.5 miles, I think. Or at least I think that's a Fontana lake. I don't know. It could be some other finger lake from it, but anyhow. Gray on this side. Nothing but fog, mist, cloud. The trail, see up, still very wet, still very damp, still very slippy. Just finished quite a serious climb, and now we're on a descent, which is always a good thing. Well, maybe not always, but most times a good thing. It's a nice break. Okay, day 14 progresses well. Let's keep going. So I just checked the Far Out app, and it's 3.6 miles from my present position to the marina, where I will be doing my resupply, my foods and so on for the Smoky Mountains. And it's 4.9 miles from my present position to the actual shelter. It's a little afternoon, about 12:15. We're doing fine. Again, just finished a good solid climb, but now we're on pretty much a flat area right now. So yeah, I think the resupply at the Fontana Dam, I think, is going to be quite expensive, because it's going to be quite a substantial one, keeping in mind the distance, 75 miles across the Smokies, and keeping in mind the fact that we may have to sit an extra day or so in a shelter waiting for the weather. So it'll be a little bit heavier resupply, and of course a little more costly, but I'd rather be with it than without it, for sure. Okay, let's just take a look at this foggy, misty, wet trail ahead of us. It's really quite interesting. Appalachian Trail North, Walker Gap, 3,450 feet. That's to the right. Yellow Creek Mountain Trail number 48 and Appalachian Trail number 41. Benton McKay Trail, also to the right. Then we go to the right. Way in the distance through the trees, the first look of the Fontana Dam. Pretty amazing. The bridge, the dam, the lake behind. You can't see the river from here really, there's trees obscuring it, but a beautiful kind of blue hue on the lake behind, especially over this way. But then the dam, way down there. We're descending down into the Fontana Dam location or area. Again, stopping at the marina, checking out the resupply. There is a village here. Don't know much about it really. I think they have a couple of motels. Someone did post that it's $90 a night right now. Of course, these dollars are US dollars. But I don't particularly need a motel. I do need a resupply, that's for sure. And I'm told at the shelter, the Fontana Hilton, the largest shelter on the Appalachian Trail, there's electricity and so on, hot water and bathrooms. So that all sounds wonderful. Okay. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Let's keep going. The Fontana Marina. What a beautiful view looking down those twin kind of bodies of water with that red kind of earth between. The trees, mountains in the background. What a beautiful little spot. Okay, let's go down and see what these guys have for resupply. I guess the other option is to go into town, but we'll see what happens. So I just passed a couple of hikers as I walked down this kind of gangway to the marina. They both tell me the same thing. There's lots of resupply here, but it is expensive. Well, in all truthfulness, we knew that. Your other option is in town, what they call the Fontana Village. Identical pricing. It's a bit of a cartel goes on here, I guess, for the tourists and the hikers. So they're gouges, we know it, but it is what it is, and there's nothing else in between here till we get through the Smokies. So we have to make sure we do our resupply here. Okay, let's kind of go on in and take a little look. Okay. All the nice kind of day boats that the people have. Whew. Yes, the Fontana Marina. I've seen it on many videos and we're here today. So this is okay. Nice boats. Yeah. Look at that, like a houseboat with a big seating area outside. I bet you that's a big canopy you can pull over. Oh my. I know Joanne, my girlfriend, and I would probably love one of these. And then my kids too. Maybe they'd come and visit me more if I had one of these. Look at that houseboat right there. Oh man. Yeah, I'd love that. Okay, let's go inside and get stuff done. So I just did my resupply at the Fontana Marina. Wow. Talk about price gouging. Probably the worst example of price gouging I've ever seen. 110 US dollars for my resupply foods. It did include a sandwich and a coffee that I had for lunch, just a Jimmy Dean breakfast sandwich and a cup of coffee, just generic coffee. But wow, crazy expensive. But you know what? There's really nothing else here except the village. It's the same in the village. So yeah, pack's a lot heavier of course, but it's not too bad. And we're now ready, supplies wise, to cross the Smokies. Temperature, well, that's a concern. They did have Wi-Fi, and in Celsius we have -19 one night and -17 the next night. Whew. That's damn cold. During the day, -2 or 3. okay, can hike in that, no problem. But I just don't know. But that minus 17 and minus 19, I don't know. Okay, here we pick up the trail. We start with a climb. I think we've got just a little over a mile, or about a mile, to the Fontana Hilton. And you know what? I think that's where we're going to spend the night to make it a 12.9 mile day with a resupply. Appalachian Foot Trail, Georgia to Maine. We're also sharing the trail right now with the Benton Mackay. Okay, this is Blaze. Let's go. Just gorgeous. As I've left the marina heading towards the Fontana Hilton, walking along the side of the lake. Beautiful mountains in the background. I'm guessing, yeah, the beginning of the Smoky Mountains in the background, but just gorgeous. Look at the trail ahead of me. I like the contrast between the green and the brown above me. I just like that. As a photographer, you're always looking at color and light. The two things, well, light primarily, because if there's no light, well, then there's no color, but the light and the color, how they work together, how the light creates the color, if you will. And as a photographer, you're always looking at those things. On everyday life, never ceases to amaze me. But take another look. Wow. Could you imagine having like a houseboat on there, and, you know, that being your place to call home? Because in the winter time, I mean, it's still relatively mild. This water doesn't freeze or anything. Not like in Ontario, even though we're in North Carolina. And yes, you do get some weather, but of course the freezing rains and even some snow, but it never freezes or anything. And most of the time it's really quite pleasant. Okay, I think a little less daydreaming, and a little more heading towards my camp for the night. Yeah, as I said, pack's a little heavier, but you gotta have supplies. Another thing I mentioned, or I didn't mention, but I will mention it now, about the prices here being crazy, and they are. But you know what? The further north we go, certain things get more expensive in price. However, you start to go through communities that all have Dollar Generals. The Dollar General becomes the through hiker's #1 resupply. And what I bought here for, like, you know, 100 and crazy amount of money, or like 100 and stupid, a quarter of the price at the Dollar General. So there is that much to look forward to as a little bit of a financial reprieve as I head north. But I think I'm away from that yet. I need to get across the Smokies and push north, I think, into Virginia, and see what happens there. A big state. Anyhow, let's go. Look at that view. Absolutely beautiful. And this is the view you get from the famous Fontana Hilton shelter. It's got pump water. It's got a recharging station. I'm recharging my phone and my battery pack. It's got fire pit, garbage containers, picnic tables. Just take a little look down here. Beautiful area. Seating around the fire pit. Just take a little look. The forest, the lake, everything. Isn't this gorgeous? Wow. Isn't this beautiful? And the famous shelter itself. Now, you're not going to believe this, because I probably wouldn't have believed this. But right this minute, Jasper, is the only person at the shelter. Now, on the hill, there's several tents. I don't know how many, 5 or 6 tents. All those people are getting ready to go into the Smokies tomorrow. And right here, the famous Hilton shelter. They have a hiker box full of goodies for people, full of things. My bed for the night is going to be right there. Hi, my pack. I'm going to have my coffee and some things. 2-story on both sides. So this will sleep quite a few people. They also have, at the top of the hill past the tenting area, here's a bathroom. It has 2 stalls, 2 sinks, and a hot, yes, excuse me, I said hot shower, which I just had. And it was lovely, and there was soap there. There. Information that you need to know. A map of the area. Wow. Wow. So there you have it. Oh, and there's the sign, look. I hadn't seen that before. The Fontana Hilton. Go figure. Yeah, I hadn't seen that till just now. Ah, interesting place. I'm going to enjoy it here tonight, and blasting off early in the morning anyhow after my coffee maybe, but it's great. Okay. Coffee time.